Welcome to your magic moon message, ladies and gentlemen. This is the peace dealer, moon in Aries, sun in Libra, full moon time, baby. We are breaking through the breakthrough season. We have three parts of breakthrough every year. It's called the fall season, relative to the northern hemisphere. We have Libra season, 180 degrees. We have Scorpio season, 210 degrees of the sun's transit across the ecliptic path. And then we have 240 degrees, which is Sagittarius, every year faithfully. Of course, that brings a 180 to 270 degree full moon or opposition to third quarter square. And we are at the first of three breakthrough elements: potency, power, cardinal Libra; strength, pure energy, Scorpio; magic, perspective, Sagittarius. Breaking through in the godhood, higher perspective. This is the finale and climax of the year's storyline every year before we step into completion and apply this breakthrough perspective through Capricorn. So now that we are with the moon in Aries, we've spent the past 2 weeks activating the sun and moon conjunction at 29 degrees Virgo. Okay. And that has allowed us to, of course, step forward and realistically apply this change of perspective and behavior through Libra into now how our behavior applies interpersonally with others. The moon went through Scorpio. We strengthened the quality of these actions. We then, of course, activated a higher perspective of this social awareness. We integrated it in Capricorn. We strengthened the knowledgeable quality of how creatively we know what to express in Aquarius. And then we, of course, integrated this perspective that shifted and aligned our belief systems with this new social awareness. As of now, everything has been tied together. The opposition from sun and moon is going to break through this original, authentic understanding of who you feel yourself to be and how this original feeling of self breaks through and expresses socially. It is now taking this inner authenticity that you will use to express your social awareness and superpowers to break through and harvest your superpowers over the next week so that you can bring more of this authenticity into your relationships with other people. All right. So with that being said, understand that your understanding of yourself as authentic as it is, especially, is highly significant, based on and relevant towards, of course, everything that has been awakening, especially since we have activated these Sun, Pluto, Aquarius cycles, especially since the summer where Saturn and Neptune have entered Aries. All right. You actually know what your chart ruler is. You're not a dum-dum. And now this understanding, especially of your moon sign, gives you specialized knowledge that, I'm not saying makes you better than other people who don't know their stuff. You are, but I'm not going to say that. But at the very least, puts you in a position to actually stand on something concrete, on something eternal that will now make, regardless of how well you know your zodiac or whatnot, how well really you step into the authenticity of yourself more noticeable as we're getting ready to break through, phasing out of this old world with Saturn and Pisces and into the new world order with Saturn and Aries. You see, people are getting spooked with these digital IDs now, right? They're rolling out the digital IDs. A lot of people are pushing back against it. It's the future, though. It's the future. This new world order is happening, y'all. Like, you can't stop it. So that being said, the resistance towards it is beautiful. I'm not saying people should stop resisting, but just letting you know, ain't nothing stopping this globalization that is amongst you. It's been prophesied. It's gonna happen one way or another. That being said, knowing that this is starting to come together because of these or in alignment with these perspective new cycles lets you know what time it is. unless you know the upcoming battle with Saturn and Aries over our individual rights, authority, and liberties. And that's why it's important that the supernatural insight of abilities and powers you are slowly but surely awakening over the next 20 years in connecting you outside of the false authorities and systems that seek to govern your mental, okay, are connecting you with the true facet of you outside of theoretical models, anatomical, biological, physical ideas around why you're here, where you come from, this quote unquote historical rendition that changes relative to who's in power. There is a facet of you beyond and outside all of that with which you can directly tap into from within. And a lot of this talk is just philosophical, spiritual mumbo jumbo, but more than ever, you're coming into a way to actually live it and demonstrate it as you, of course, align with the development of the universe. Yes, that's going to piss off other people who feel they can manipulate you with their own perspective or are threatened when you do not fit within their belief systems. We call them WBAs, weak ass bitches, all right? WABs, or we call them SLBs, stupid little bitches, all right? Do not ever let a weak little bitch try and fit you within their box of understanding. Their insecurity stems from their inability to effectively mold or influence you. It has nothing to do with you. And this is where a full moon like this is going to once again break through this greater authenticity with which you will use to now express and demonstrate everything since March. You've been developing this year's worth of your character to finally break through. And the reason why that's really important is Saturn in Pisces has been testing your faith. And a lot of what that looks like is, things not moving forward the way you want them to move, things not necessarily moving as quickly or developing like you're used to that. And that's because we're phasing out one world and entering into a whole new one, as well as this fog, this testing of your belief systems isn't necessarily nothing happening. It's movement and everything happening beyond your ability to perceive, at least in the moment, which is teaching you and testing you and challenging you to take, out of the box perspectives, thinking outside the box, and surrendering with Neptune to the truth that you've already completed what you want to do. You have people who say that, but they demonstrate everything but that. They instead choose to worry about what things can go wrong and really just throw tantrums because things don't look like they're going their way. And you have actual masters of this who they're not perturbed by external environment. They've made the decision. They've decided this is what it is. And they experience the good, the bad, and the ugly. They love it all, knowing that it comes from them. And so, of course, whether it's bad in the moment, it's a part of their process. You have a lot of adults who still think and behave like children. I'm not even saying that's a bad thing. I can be childish myself, but I am no child. That being said, if we go back to every moon in Aries since the new moon in Aries, the hour hand has gone from Aries to Taurus to Gemini to Cancer to Leo to Virgo, and now it's to Libra, 6 o'clock. Okay, if we're using Aries as like the 12 noon. So this is now fully getting us ready to break through. And relative to this powerful work you've done, because this Pisces season was not just a regular Pisces season. We had the Sun conjunct the North Node, Saturn, and Neptune, all at the end of Pisces. So you are still only just now barely breaking through all of that. And that's what's going to make the next 3 months look like you are coming into more progress than you've ever had the past 6 months. Because the past 6 months from March to June, you were planting seeds. And then from June to September, those seeds were breaking through the ground. You were integrating this, and now you're finally harvesting this. It's not going to be until December we finally complete everything. And then we start to look at what we've accomplished, and then we collect these rewards as we activate late January, brand new Pluto cycle. So at this pivotal, crucial point where we're breaking through the breakthrough arc, this is the first of 3. By the time we come into 2 weeks from now, when we activate the new moon in Libra, the soul truck said, yes, you're going to be activating properly superpowers. For now, you are breaking through the authenticity and who you are in these social spaces. Without Aries, you would just conform to society, and you would not necessarily contribute to society anything original. You would just be doing what other people are doing because that's just what the crowd likes right now. You're playing to the crowd. You're trying to find music that sells, and it's not creating an original sound. You're just copying the sound that is the most profitable. Aries enables you to now be a part of this social environment, but you're bringing yourself. Okay, you're bringing yourself. Okay, and this is where this development over the past 2 weeks, which, mind you, this is not a new moon Libra we are harvesting. This is the second new moon in Virgo. So you are getting ready to 180 degrees between the moon and sun in Aries and Libra respectively. The 28-29 degree conjunction activation at Virgo we had. So this is activating the final mastery of breaking through behavioral patterns that directly align with your belief systems. The moon going past Pisces revisited these belief systems, with which now, in these changing of beliefs relative to how you express these superpowers and align this social awareness, now you're feeling how we apply these beliefs into a deeper understanding of who you are. This time around, next moon in Aries, the hour hand will be in Scorpio. Next moon in Aries, hour hand will be in Capricorn. We're going to do it again, except next time we're in Aries season, the hour hand will be in Aries, the moon will be in Aries, Saturn and Neptune will be in Aries. We're activating a whole new 30-year cycle, a whole new 185-year cycle, a whole new 248-year cycle again with Pluto. And that's going to make these times very historic. Everything you feel you have experienced 2025 is but just the beginning of precedents and plot points that are only going to be more unhinged moving forward. And you think this shit you've experienced is weird and crazy? You ain't seen nothing yet. Uranus is just 1 degree Gemini. Are you serious? Welcome to the new normal. Just this new weird, the new nervous. All right. Shout out to my cousins right there. That being said, why that's very significant once again, especially relative to this full moon and this whole idea of, supernatural powers and abilities. Neptune is still retrograding out of Aries, 0 degrees, which is going to, over the next 13 years, disillusion any separation between you and God when it comes to identifying yourself. You have a lot of people who are still afraid to admit they're God. You have a lot of people who are terrified to really accept that there's a universe within them, and that the dogmatic religious structures that have only been put in place to imprison your mind, to just give blind fealty to these false authorities who govern your mental, is to give you guilt and shame for remembering the divinity and inner spark that has always existed within you, due to the influence of whatever demiurgic force you want to call the demiurge or the Old Testament God. All of these are symbols and old mythologies from a dead world with which none of us are getting ready to inherit. Let your parents and their parents romanticize that shit. We done. It's over. It's over. And this is the transition into new themes with a new generation who don't give a fuck about any of that old shit. I'm telling you right now. And this is going to update most all sciences, myths, religions, in over the next decade in a way that, accurately represents who we all are as one cosmic body, that we have let ignorance use everything from race to sex to gender to act as if we're better than each other when we all piss, shit, and bleed and then die. Okay? Cool. So yeah, Moon in Aries is gonna remind you what level of originality you're going to be injecting socially, that's going to be applied with the moon in Taurus, with which will strengthen this understanding of our values and physiological senses, which will transform the way with which we interact with others. So the breakthrough begins with this full moon, and you're going to understand the identity of these superpowers. And they don't have to be like specific superpowers. Anytime I say with Libra season we're activating superpowers, we're developing the application of our intellect. We're developing our social awareness, how we can click up with people and jump other people, because Libra is the power of jumping. That being said, guys, we still do have this sextile to Uranus and Gemini. We're still going to have the King Kung, so the Venus coming out of course, Virgo. And we still have Mars in Scorpio. So that King Kunks is going to focus this intensity with Scorpio and this precision and analysis with Virgo relative to a much more powerful understanding of who you feel you are. But once again, it's going to come with acceptance. You have to ask yourself, are you content with being a version of yourself that is comfortable for the society around you to accept? Or are you willing to be uncomfortable to accept who God made you as, relative to whoever the fuck that makes sense towards? You are a being with which transcends modern rationalization. So your inability to make sense of it or put it into words does not dismiss the divine and important nature you're here on this earth. And yeah, people aren't going to like to hear that, but most of these people don't even know their fucking rising sign. Fucking dum-dums. And I hope I sound condescending, because these people will honestly make no qualms of making fun of you for knowing that stuff. And I'm not saying that you should hate on people who do, but don't ever in your life feel like you have anything to prove to an idiot who does not know the degree of their moon sign. And is basically just parading ignorance like it's cool to not know that shit. And I'm using astrology as an example. Like, everything does not hinge on you knowing your astrology. I'm just giving you, from my perspective, the integrity with which you can replace this with anything that is important to be known, right? I'm gonna use astrology as an example because it's still controversial enough, and still the one true science. But other than that, yeah. We are all going to continue to play our role. And as you begin to break through, this is going to take into account 6 months worth of full moons. And this is going to compound on how we will continue to break through with this full moon in Aries, which will eventually be the full moon in Taurus, which will eventually be the full moon in Gemini. And those will be our 3 breakthrough full moons. Okay? You guys stay blessed as always. Would you rather be at war with yourself and at peace with the world, or at peace with yourself and at war with the world? That was said by the late Nipsey Hussle. And ask yourself that, because you cannot serve 2 masters. So I know some people need to be likable in order to be held in high esteem towards other people, and other people need to be themselves fully and authentically, and you can try and play both sides. Eventually you're gonna have to choose that master with which you serve, and hopefully you're not out here giving your power away to false authorities just so you can be accepted and popular and well known and have a good legacy. All right, anyway, you guys stay blessed as always. It's always an honor to give you these magic moon messages. I love that it helps you guys, guides you guys. Have grace, have patience with yourself. Please stop giving into these societal traps, lying to you, acting as if you should have already had this by this age. Your journey is individual and different from other people's journey. People are miserable. That's why they find stuff in your life to bring down instead of build you up. Strong people build you up. Miserable people will try and tear you down. All right. And insecure people just want somebody to feel better than, to compare successes with. Nobody can compare themselves with anybody else, in truth. So you enjoy that. I hope you enjoy this development as we break through. I'll catch you on the next magic moon message. And until next time, peace.